Good morning, friends. My name is Ravi Valluri and I belong to the Indian Railway Traffic Service, having served on Indian Railways for almost 34 years. Prior to that, I had worked in the private sector. I have a passion for writing, public speaking, and also dabbled in music theatre workshops. And writing is something very dear to me. The books I have written, well, these are some of them. I have written both fiction and non-fiction, and initially I started writing for the Life Positive e-magazine, and those articles were chosen or spotted by the Free Press Journal Mumbai, and they in turn had asked me to write for their section on mind matters. Now, what is an inspiring incident which has triggered this journey or foray in writing? Well, a couple of them. To begin with, I was always interested in music, theatre, as I had mentioned, and I was fashioned greatly by my English teacher, who thought that I had the potential to read and write English. And she suggested that I should read in, autobiographies and biographies of eminent personalities, which was very useful. At that time, on the goading of my father, I read C. Rajagopalachari's Ramayana and Mahabharata, and some very interesting books like Is Paris Burning and the autobiography of Mahatma Gandhi, that is the story of my experiments of truth. I read Oscar Wilde, and initially, like any other child, I had read Enid Blyton, Hardy Boys, Asterix, Tintin, Amar Chitragatha, etc. The incidents which really triggered writing was one when during my childhood, I suffered from an ailment called malabsorption, and I was to have been treated at the Christian Medical College, Vellore. Instead, I was taken to Mystic Saint. I was a child then, and he cured me of that. Those seeds were planted in my mind, which reflected in my writing. Later on, I became an alcoholic, and I was extricated from this cesspool of alcoholism through the unique breathing technique of Sudarshan Kriya and the Art of Living Foundation, and the grace of Gurudev Sri Ravi Shankar. It was at that time I started dabbling with my own blog, started writing for WordPress and Life Positive e-magazine. And I had already mentioned that I was spotted by Free Press Journal. So that one sequence led to the other. And Gurudev had predicted that and prophesied that my books would be published. He said, you keep writing and very soon you would be publishing books. Meanwhile, I had become a faculty of Art of Living and conducted yoga sessions, meditation sessions, and I was counseling alcoholics and addicts, which I do even now. So these have been a couple of inspiring incidents in my life. Now, there is a feeling that reading and writing habits have plummeted. I will not agree. One can say that during the lockdown period, when Corona had struck the world, the book fairs were not there, bookshops were closed, but that gave rise to increase in technology, and that enabled people to, write on various platforms. Like in India, it was Story Mirror, then Penmancy, and others. And internationally, there were other platforms such as the Read C prompts And one could write short stories for, say, Times of India or other such papers and magazines, which enabled people to contribute. Simultaneously, audiobooks, e-books, Kindles, they all surfaced, and that gave a great platform to youngsters, budding authors to contribute. That's how my journey began. In fact, this book, The Divine Whispers, which I had written some time back, is an audiobook, and this was released by Gurudev Sri Ravi Shankar himself. That was an online release. So from an offline, it became an online release. So the world of literature now is changing as more and more people are reading and writing. Sometime in 2011, India stood number 8 in terms of the number of books published. But now we were 10th, and today we are 8th in terms of number of books published. Of course, it includes textbooks and books going to the library, but simultaneously it is also fiction and non-fiction works. There is a surfeit of literary agents who help in publishing books, and also you can self-publish or go to the platform of Kindle. So all these are available, and now the book fairs are there. We recently had the Chennai book fair, followed by the Kolkata book fair, the Goa book fair, and very soon we would be having the Delhi book fair. And I was lucky that my books were there in Kolkata book fair, and they would also be on display at Delhi book fair. My literary journey has taught me that it is essential to be very patient, do a lot of research work, not be in a hurry, and read a lot, visit places. Now that the lockdown restrictions are not there, I had the advantage of working on 8 zonal railways, and I could see the entire country, east to west, north to south, and there were so many stories which I was witness to. Like during the period of Corona, I was posted as the Chief Operations Manager, North Central Railway, Prayagraj. And at that time, migrant specials were running, and we were responsible for that. And it was a tough job handling 60 to 70 lakh people. At that time, their stories surfaced. It was like a woman delivering a child on the train, or people in desperation jumping onto the platform to grab whatever they could eat. It was also about people who were traveling even by freight trains or walking. That led to the IIM Bangalore asking me to contribute to one of their papers. It was on the transportation of migrant labor by Indian Railways. And I'm very pleased to announce that I was part of this anthology, India's Long Walk Home, and one of my articles on the transportation of migrant labor by Indian Railways. It features prominent authors like Ruskin Bond, Arundhati Roy, Mridula Garg, Nandita Haskar, Pranjoy Guha Tharkuta. So that's a matter of great pride to feature along with them. Heartbreak at Coffee Shop was written during the period of Corona. At that time, during lockdown, I had written this book, and this is consisting of 26 short stories, 10 drabbles. Each drabble is of 100 words, and 2 short plays. And it was an Amazon bestseller. Simultaneously, when the second wave hit, I wrote another collection of short stories. This is called A Tale of Parallels. Here I have woven stories again on Corona, but with the backdrop of Indian mythology, Zen stories, as to say what happened, say 5,000 years back, and how the situation is unfolding today. It's drawing a parallel between the two. That is how it is called A Tale of Parallels. This is about say, the ancient Pandavas, which are in the myth, and these are the current day Indians. Now, I have been writing both fiction and non-fiction, and the lesson I have learned is to be patient while writing. I have been very lucky to have my wife as an editor. She goes by the pen name of Red Pencil Editor, and she separates the chaff from the grain, which has been very helpful to me. There is no duplication in the writing, and she chooses the right idioms and the right material which needs to be printed. Now, the book in question, I will talk about two books. One is, this is called Art of War to Art of Living. It's about a Chinese tech who came from a very humble background but rose to dizzy heights by developing an app. But her app was confiscated by the Chinese government as it became a bit too intrusive, and she felt immense lack in her life because she had created such a wonderful thing which was not available now, even though she was financially compensated, and how she travels to India like Xuan Zhang, who had done 1400 years back in search of Buddhism. So this is that story, Art of War to Art of Living. This is my first novel. Now, recently, this book is available. This is called A Story of Faith and Miracles. It is a true account. It is an autobiography. It's my life, my journey, how I suffered during childhood from the problem of malabsorption, and how I was cured by a mystic from Bangalore, from Mysore. His name is Ganapati Sachidanand Swamiji. And thereafter, how I became a victim of alcoholism and how I came out of alcoholism through the unique rhythmic technique of Sudarshan Kriya, and also how I became a faculty of art of living. It also talks about relationships within the family, how my family had suffered, my parents, my wife, my children, interpersonal relationships in office, how they treated me when I was an alcoholic and thereafter, and how when I became sober. So my journey of sobriety. I gave up drinking on December 9th, 2006, and touchwood, by God's grace, Gurudev's Kripa, I have been sober, and I have been able to conduct and programs for alcoholics and drug addicts at various places, and I keep getting calls and I counsel them as to what needs to be done. It's essential that they join a rehab or perhaps take holistic treatment in form of joining the Art of Living Foundation, or say going in for Vipassana, breathing technique and meditation. So A Story of Faith and Miracles is such a journey. It's available on Amazon and Kindle like all my other books. My future projects include, I'm writing a collection of short stories and drabbles once again. I am shifting gears to fiction, and I stumbled upon this idea of creating a website. It is called rustleofwords.com. This will be launched very shortly, and I invite all those who are listening to this that do contribute to it. You can submit your submissions to rustleofwords@gmail.com. You can write articles, you can write short stories, you can write tales, you can write micro tales, you can write drabbles, say for 75 words or 100 words. If you find an exciting picture or a painting or a photograph which you have clicked, you can submit that. rustleofwords.com is the second project, and it's a website which would be bi-monthly, and it's a platform for all budding authors, and I'm sure it will also help me to hone my skills. It would be edited by my wife, the English section, and there's a person whom we know, Ritu Bhatnagar, who is who will be the Hindi editor. In fact, the another project is this Art of War to Art of Living. This would be translated into Hindi. That has been translated by Ritu Bhatnagar with some inputs from a fellow railway colleague named Aman Verma, who's posted at Agra. My books have been translated into Telugu, in Tamil, in Kannada and Hindi. So I feel very fortunate and blessed about it. In conclusion, I wish to thank and congratulate NEX 8 for the yeoman service they are doing by providing a platform to unknown authors, budding writers, and I'm sure they will gain a lot by listening to this video and also go ahead and in their journey of writing, reading and disseminating knowledge and information. My best wishes to NEX 8, to all those who have heard this video and all those aspiring writers. I wish you all the best and let us continue this wonderful platform towards literature and do contribute to russellofwords.com. Thanks a lot. A good day.